Hello there, Zeke again. Today I'm going to show the two tools that I use the most for speedy map making during my game prep, Canvas of Kings and Dungeon Alchemist. To give a really good comparison of the two, I'm going to create the same map in each program. I'm going to create a 30 by 30 grid that is an animated map of an outdoor scene with roads through a forest with a hut and a pond. And I'm going to show the results side by side, including the approximate time to make each at the end of the video. Just to say up front, I'm not sponsored by either one of these companies. I haven't received any free product or any other consideration for making this video. I'm going to start off with Canvas of Kings. I've created a brand new map, which has given me a blank canvas, and I'm going to select digital on the left-hand side and make sure that my map is the right size. And then I'm going to select Show Map Area. Later on, I'll have the option to export what's in the box, but right now I'm just using it as a guide to keep my map organized. One of the interesting features of Canvas of Kings is that I could, if I wanted to, create a much larger map, let's say an entire town, and then come back as needed, and through the magic of the red box, just export the pieces that I want to zoom in on and focus on and show my players in detail. The plot tool that I'm using here lets me put down groups of similar items on my map, and it automatically arranges those in a sensible way. Here I'm using that to put in trees in a forest, but I could also use it to put in buildings in a neighborhood, for example. And if I don't like the layout that it gives me, I can hit the tab key and have it automatically regenerate a new layout. And I can also click and grab individual items within that layout and move and rotate and resize them individually. I've opened up the export menu here, and there's something interesting that you might notice. I could export the map area as a static image, which is what I'll usually do, and then it would give me the space within the red box there. But if I want the WebM video, I can only export the entire screen, not just what's in the red box. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to show you what this looks like. But before I put this in front of my players, I would either trim the video down or trim the visible area down in Foundry so that my players could only see what's in the red box, that 30 by 30 field that I want. And this is the finished map from Canvas of Kings. Next, we're going to move on to Dungeon Alchemist. We're going to define our map up front in the new map screen by setting it at 30 by 30 tiles. Dungeon Alchemist generated a forest for me automatically. So what I'm going to do to start is clear away some of that forest so I can see the terrain underneath. Next, I'm going to draw in a path by painting it on the terrain, and I'm going to use two different colors because I think it looks a little bit nicer that way. Next, I'm going to lower the terrain, and then using the same tool that I used to paint the path, I'm going to quote-unquote paint water inside the hole I just made to make the pond. Next, I'm going to tell Dungeon Alchemist to build me a room of a certain type in this area, and it's going to automatically populate that room with, in this case, detritus, and it's going to set doors and windows where it thinks they're appropriate. I will have to go back in and move a few things around to be a little bit more logical. Also, I want this to be a battle map, so I want to move things around a little bit so that there's a little bit more open space for my players to use. And for the same reason, I'm removing some of the trees from around the edge of the cabin. I want my players to have a little bit more space to move around in whatever battle I decide to set for them here. Both programs do have the all-important Control-Z undo shortcut, as you can see here. Here's the finished map from Dungeon Alchemist. I'd like to quickly go over what kind of game master I'd recommend each of these programs to. Let's start with Canvas of Kings. I'm definitely going to recommend this one over Dungeon Alchemist if you're on a budget. As at the time of recording, the price is $18.99 on Steam, compared to $44.99 for Dungeon Alchemist. I'm definitely going to recommend this to the busy GM. I'm also going to recommend Canvas of Kings to anybody who prefers to run outdoors or town-based encounters. Canvas of Kings does not do very well at indoors encounters right now, and it struggles to do dungeons at all. I'd also recommend it to anybody who likes a hand-drawn aesthetic. What kind of GM would I recommend Dungeon Alchemist to? First of all, a GM that wants a more polished product. It's fairly stable. This is also good for a GM who has more time to invest in learning mapping software. The more you know about Dungeon Alchemist, the more you can get it to do. And to give you an example, here are 2 intermission screens that I made using Dungeon Alchemist in conjunction with OBS. I'd also recommend Dungeon Alchemist to a game master who wants mapping software that takes advantage of everything Foundry has to offer. When you export a map from Dungeon Alchemist, you can export walls and light sources as well. You can import those into Foundry directly and save yourself the hassle of manually inputting walls and torches and lamps yourself. And here again are both maps side by side for comparison. GMs, what's your preferred mapping software? I'm especially interested to hear from those of you outside of the Foundry ecosystem. What do you like? What plays well with your virtual tabletop of choice? And to all of you, thank you for watching, support your local game store, and I'll see you at the table.